So this afternoon we're going to talk about, well, recall, who, and when. So you guys are all here because you want to know some strategies on how to bring patients back into the office. I'm not going to kill you with 10 million slides because I don't even remember what I put on here, to tell you the truth. Because I did it right before I went on vacation. So our session goals, or wait, if I was doing this, because remember I said I was testing out to go for bigger conferences. I'm not getting any payments from the AAP, darn. So our goals are, how do you know you need to recall patients? Knowing the reports to use, and then I'm going to hit on some tools that PCC offers to help you guys do that. Oh, went the wrong way, sorry. If you hold it this way, it looks like I'm going forward. Okay. We slow down this time of year. So when offices call us and they say, hey, I need to recall some patients, we're slow this time of year. Why does it have to be this time of year? Why does it have to be when you're slow? So, my ideas of when you recall patients, why wait till you're slow? Because then all of a sudden, you know how parents are. They're the snail because they're not going to call you back, or they're going to be busy on vacation when you guys are on vacation. So, strategize. Who's doing the recalls? What are we recalling for? Does it always have to be well visits? Why not vaccines? What else do we recall for? Hey, how about ADHD visits, asthmas? There's different should we pick on the last person that came in last? All right, so what do you recall for? No, I'm just kidding. No, so there you go. I love it. So, when you say, hey, we're doing recall strategies, we're going to talk, but why do we have to wait till you're slow? Why don't we be proactive? And do we do it all the time? Once a month? What's your practice's goal to just keep those providers? And I know there's some doctors in here, I'll be careful. You want to get them in the room and keep them in the room. And how do we do that? So that's when I think of recall and stuff like that, it's how do we keep our office going? And it takes everybody. You hear that, what's that old saying? It takes an elephant to lead a mouse to water? I don't know, I don't remember, but it takes everybody. We know you're like, well, I'm going to print the list out and give it to the front desk. Okay, if you're like me and you say, hey, it's March, so remember, we're not slow in March, but how many 6-monthers did you give their first flu vaccine to? It's been a month, and if they get 2 this year, they need 1 next year, right? So why don't we be proactive and say, hey, how many people have had 1 flu vaccine? And who needs a second one? And then who do you give that list to? You can't give it to the front desk person. Hey, here, you want to call these people? Because, give it to the nurses. Because what's going to happen to that front desk person? They're going to ask a question. Well, what else am I due for? I don't know. I was just told you needed flu number 2, and they're nervous. So when you think of your recall strategies, get everybody in the office involved. If you know it's past due balances, and we know how much fun that is. Do you recall them and say, hey, by the way, it's, how's your family doing? By the way, you owe us money. I mean, how many people do that? Your billers do it. It's the toughest, that's probably one of the toughest calls to make, right? But you're still recalling people because, hey, you guys want to get paid. They owe you money. That's a recall strategy, right? We want to get paid, we want to get fed, we want to do whatever, but it doesn't always have to come down to physicals, right? What else is there for recalls? How many, and I know we have a lot of good diversity here and everything, is when you do an ADHD med for the first time, when do you need to see them back? Right, and how many of them came in for that 28 days? So, that's another recall strategy. It's a care coordination point. Medical home, PCMH, NCQA, whatever you guys want to do. Or just be yes, can we help you? See, this is like that medical humor class all over again. Yes, we're on page 57 now. You've missed a lot. But, but that's what you guys got to do. Work as a team And maybe the doctors would love it. Or not everybody gets VFC vaccines from their state, like Vermont here. Anybody that's 18 and under, we're one of the wonderful states that says you get everything you need until you turn 19. So that means we don't pay for vaccines. And I'm like, how do I make slides with pictures on it? Oh, Jim, we can do this. So that's a shout out to one of our old CAs, Althea. She's great with this. So where do you guys get the details? How do we know? You say, hey, you just told me I need to recall these people for well visits. I need to recall these people for asthma. But I don't want my staff to have access to this tool, because here's the dashboard. We all love the dashboard. You know, there's different tools we offer. Do I love the dashboard? I do love the dashboard because we run the report already for you. We already give you the patient's name. We already show you their last visit. We show them when the next visit's due. And hey, if it's blank, call them because they're due. There's a recall strategy, right? You know, so the dashboard's very helpful. I don't know if we have a pointer on this thing. No, maybe not.
Is it on?
Oh, look at that. All right, how many people are going to follow the dot? Ready? No? So, you know, your dashboard's really great for you. And I know I have a lot of offices that they don't want people seeing this number here because they're worried that if we let staff see our financial pulse, they're going to ask for more money. Okay, I'm going to show you some other ways we can grab these reports too, but I just want to put a plug in. The dashboard, we always know it's run like you did, some of in the last class. We run the reports the first Saturday of every month, and by the following Wednesday, it's updated for you. And somebody, we won't mention any names, make sure, not pointing to you, I'm giving you a good plug, is on the phone when it's not updated, right? And I have 6 clients that are all about the dashboard. So I'm proud of you guys because you know where it is. And we break it down by what you need help with. Oh, there, right, you gotta push the button. So, but you'll notice right now, flu numbers are starting to go down and you're like, I was at 98%. Why this month am I at 70%? You're not gonna recall the people for the flu. When does the flu expire? June 30th, right. So just a little plug that some of these measures, they ebb and flow in flu. So you're gonna look at this and say, oh, Jim, we're at 24% for our flu. We need to call these people back in. I'm going to say, it's almost August. Are you calling them for next year? You know, so just be wary, like you said, of what you're doing. You got your well visits, so dashboard's good for that. You click on it, you open it up, away you go, right? Can you print it out, hand it to a staff member? Sure. What else do we offer? What do I have on here? Oh, yeah. So the reports library, this is, you know, the newest of new Cadillac that PCC's come out with in the last, well, I don't know, it's been 2 years, but it keeps getting better with every release and every time you guys give us a good plug. So now you don't want your staff seeing the financial pulse, you don't want them knowing about the money, send them to the reports library. We've got all these great reports in there as well, and they're all starting with overdue. There's my favorite vaccine one. Here's overdue for weight management. Well, that's a good one to put up on the scale for me, huh? Woo, you know, but but these are all customizable. That's the coolest part about it. So when you're recalling and you have your front desk doing one piece, customize one just for the front desk. And if you have the back desk doing it, the checkout desk or the person, I saw that. People on the camera, it was like, that means I'm boring, but that's okay. So you have the reports library to help you guys out. Is anybody ashamed not to let anybody in there? I don't know. It all depends. You're right. I don't know your dynamics of your offices. So have the staff, like I said, give it a staff responsibility. If you have to print it out for them, print it out for them. Give it to them. Write on it and give it back to me so you know they're doing the work, right? And then I don't know why I put the dashboard on there twice, but okay. So here's, I don't remember which office this was, but there's your, you got good stuff. Vaccines, you got weight management. What else do you guys recall for that you think we're missing? Or what are you missing that maybe you said, hey, I didn't think of letting my nurses do the vaccines. But like I said, just be careful, because maybe your doctors will say, oh my God, you learned that from Jim at the UC and you cost me $2,000 this month for extra vaccines. So, tread lightly. You got to figure, if they get paid X amount of dollars for a well visit, so give them 10 well visits to pay for your vaccine bill that's coming in, right? So when you recall well visits, kind of balance it out. But you also don't want to stress people out either. That's the biggest piece. I've heard a lot this week on work-life balance. So if you're gonna, you think your providers are slow this time of year, maybe they did that on purpose and they are only seeing 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, so they can get their kid's soccer game by 4 o'clock. So you gotta remember the other important piece is communication is key with this. If you're like us, or me, you put your head down and you run, but then you didn't realize in morning huddle this morning, somebody says, hey, I gotta leave by 2 today, but you've already got 50 kids coming in for the second COVID shot. Be careful. So I have to do this for an hour? You guys are in trouble. Look, we're already on the last accomplishment. Let's go back. So does anybody have any questions? Because I know we have a lot of, and if they have anything, if you guys are on the live Zoom, put something in, they'll put their hand up. Isn't this great? It's like, but go, I probably need a microphone for you so they can hear on the, here you go.
Got it.
We try to do this interactive. So, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you want to interrupt me, I don't mind. So go ahead.
So my question is, does dashboard and report library communicate the same information?
You can set them up because when you, do I have a picture of the?
Because I feel like when I run some recallers for the same thing in both fields, I have some families showing up and some families not.
So in our dashboard, we give you a little blow-by-blow, usually at the bottom of when you click on this, like where it says Dashboard News, and it tells you how we run that report. And it will tell you exactly how we're getting that information about, like, where are we getting it. And that's a good point. So the report, don't get ahead of me.
Nope, okay. So
wait. Hold on, does this
I'm not the
red-
teacher, I'm just the assistant. But I just want to make sure that folks know some discrepancy is expected because your dashboard is a snapshot in time with very specific criteria. So there is a lot of power to recreating and customizing what you actually want to see in the report library for the same measure, especially because it's now.
Okay, that was my second line to you after you said it.
I'm so
But
sorry, Chip, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because there went my mojo. So, okay, we're done because she said everything. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, Kate. That's great. But
What would you suggest that we use the dashboard for, other than a snapshot? Because I love to look at it too. I like the graphs. I like all of that.
okay, I'll repeat it back. Don't worry.
I know that, because
Right,
you cook,
right.
and every month I torture you.
That's okay.
I don't use it for that. So I just look at it, gander at it, and use it as a snapshot. But when I really
But
want
that's-
to see what's real in real time, I have to go to
But that's true. So you're right.
exactly what you said.
Right.
Daunting.
But see, but that's right. What does the dashboard do? You're right. It's a snapshot in time, but also, what do you prefer? What did you prefer?
It's for the purpose of recalling, which is what I think most of us
Right.
do, is to capture the patient, the gaps, right?
That's right. And
This is only like a monthly report card for me. This is just telling
That's
me
right.
how the practice is doing, blah, blah, blah. So I don't go here if I need to drill down and bring my patients back.
But that's right.
Where my gaps are.
Right, and that's a good way to look at it. You're right. Dashboard as a report card. I have smaller practices that rely on this because they can go in there, just print it out. It's easy. Reports library is too daunting, and they print it out from here, hand out what they need to do, and move on. So you're right. So it's a comfort level thing. If you're great with reports library and you want to build custom reports that mirror real time, then do that. I do. I do. And one thing you got to remember, we also have people in here, maybe, should we give you a thumbs up because you're my newest of new, but that are paper chart only that remember recaller in the old-fashioned way on the dark side. I'll admit to you guys, I still sometimes, when you ask for reports, I'll go there first to see how close I'm going to get it when I go to the reports library. I'm an old dog. I loved the dark side, okay? And now, working for PCC, I've got to use the new stuff, which is great. But, it's a check balance thing as well. What else we got?
Can you show us how to really run a good report from the
You mean today you want me to beam up the actual?
That's why
There's where my course assistant's gonna log me into. I love it.
I'm not sure, and I appreciate that you're giving this course.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're
Right. So seeing that's
So it's great because I know that I come to you all every so often, I'm like, oh, Jim, these reports don't make sense.
right.
They don't really, they're not executed. And then you burned in my brain the other day, which I must have said 1,000 times this week. Set it and forget it.
Right.
And I hate notify.
Yeah,
I can
well,
say
so
it.
do I, but don't tell PCC.
But
No.
what you taught me something really important, and you said to me,
That's right.
set it and forget it. Because
Right.
what I really want is to have a continuous flow, because you did explain that to
That's
me in a
right.
very nice way, and that's what I need to do. And that's where I'm not so self-sufficient, no matter if I'm here 4 years or not.
Right.
I keep coming back to you, and I
That's right.
still feel, and I don't know how many people feel this way in the room, but I still find it challenging, even though I know how to read and I know how to do
that's-
things. Every time you hit that exclusion, it's like, oh my God, there's so many things to click off or not, and my report never comes out exactly the same. And and then I go back to this, and I'm like, all right, just go through this. And I actually have an intern working for me this summer,
See,
and the
there you
poor
go.
guy, you know what he's doing?
It's
He's
me,
sitting
by the
there
way.
with
No,
my
I'm just kidding.
dashboard report, going into the EHR, making sure that they're inactivated. I have been doing a litany of things, but
Jim Proctor's class that was
Right.
recorded, it was really good.
Yeah, about oversight reporting and the
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And
So anyway, so
but
if you-
that's the other thing with recaller. You hit it when you just said it. Inactive. The dashboard, the reports library, all this is only as good as what the data is you're putting in. Dashboard comes to you once a month. But what if you didn't make these patients inactive and you're looking at it and going, why is John Canning on there? Why is Fred Flintstone on there? You're right, because you didn't mark them inactive, right?
I was just going to say, I know that we've been doing a lot of recalling the past couple months, and there was actually, we caught a billing error where a well code wasn't billed. And so that's what it's pulling from. Those reports in report library are pulling from your billing well codes. And we caught one that slipped through the cracks and didn't
Right.
get billed. They had immunizations that got billed, but not the well code.
Right, and then you had enough time to hopefully put it back out the door and get paid for it, right? Well, you're still here, so that's good, right? But so the data is, and remember, you guys own your data. So when you're recalling people and you're like, why is this happening? Don't be afraid to call one of us. I love getting bugged by my clients, I really do. And to make you guys successful, to make your practices successful, this makes your doctors successful, right? But remember, that work-life balance, make sure everybody's on the same mojo before you open the floodgates to do those extra vaccines. And-
Really quick,
Oh, what?
behind you, to
Oh,
your
boy.
left, to your left. I
My other-
use the reports religiously, monthly, and we have a lot of people that are listed as transferred or inactive, but they're still populating on my list.
So give us a jingle and we can peek at it for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll go through and separate it between like months of people or
Okay.
children needing to
Sure.
come in for wellness checkups or just about it.
yeah, and after we're done being filmed, because this is great when I'm over here because we're not on camera, but, we'll take a peek after. Yeah. You want?
I have the same issue.
Okay, so yeah, that's also
Is
cool.
this dashboard or report library?
That's why I'm asking about.
Right.
report
Right.
and Both.
So it's important, as Jim said earlier, to click through on the measure that you're reviewing in the dashboard to see how it's calculated, because it might lead you to come up with a more creative solution that works for your patient population.
But I know what
If
you're saying.
dashboard's only excluding inactive, you might have newborn no follow-up as a patient flag. You might have not our patient. You might have dismissed, transient, transferred, and you want to also exclude them. That's when you want to hop into the report library.
But we'll dial it in for you, no worries. That's the best part about it, right? Keep us working. By the way, we're all closed on Monday. Just kidding. Now it's recorded. John's gonna be like, what? No, because what happens after today? Oh boy, right? No. So there's how you get your reports. Now that, there we go, because you started getting into my second slide. So there's the reports. Oh, did I get this upside down again? tools we have to accomplish this, okay? So I took a couple screenshots. Actually, Althea took a couple screenshots and helped me get them into my slides, so I'll admit it. How can you work for a computer company and not be tech savvy? But I'm a clinical guy. So I was just showing, like with the red box here, I hope I'm not blocking anybody's view, what it looks like in the dashboard when you're coming down. I've had clients say, well, they have a scheduled visit that already happened. Yes, because this is dashboard and it's a snapshot in time, right? Remember, reports library is the one that gives us real time. So in the dashboard, honestly, we just gave you guys this great COVID reports that are in there. Those are real time, folks. So does that say we're heading in the right direction? I bet you we are. Can't put any dates on it, but that kind of helped get that foothold to say, hey, can it be done? Yes, it can. And then, of course, my favorite tool, how are we going to accomplish this? We gave you guys free broadcast messaging all through COVID, and I don't see an end date on it anytime soon, so you know what? Use it. Do you use Notify? Use Notify. There's a run in Notify that you can set up for overdue well visits. So you can set up a run that goes out every whatever you want. If you want it to go out every 10 days, every 7 days, every 30 days. I guess I suck. She's leaving. There's always going to be one that leaves, right? I love it. Thanks, Sabina. I always wait for somebody to pick on it. It's our own PCC here, darn it. But if you want to set up Notify where it automatically will say, hey, I want it to go out automatically. We were talking about earlier, can we do that with the reports library? You can set up the report as a scheduled report, but it's not going to go out the door until you do the piece where you say send it via text or email, and then you have to physically touch it, okay? That's part of those lovely rules from big whatever boss that watches over everybody. Or if we let it go out automatically and we're charging for it, and you guys are going to say, hey, whoa, 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 but we're not charging for it, so don't worry. So it's all in how. Oh, you got one over there?
Sorry, Jim, but no. So there are cost concerns when it comes to Notify, and I just wanted to share a strategy that a bunch of my offices use. They have their 2, 5, 7, 14, whatever day reminders for, hey, Timmy, you have an appointment with Dr. So-and-so at this office at 3, and that's great. But if they continuously ran Notify notifications for overdue for well, it's cost prohibitive for many folks. So what they do is they deactivate that Notify run and only activate and run it once a month or once a quarter, depending on the age of the child population that they've designed the Notify for. So you can set up well recall notifies and deactivate them and only run them on demand. So that's one strategy folks have used. But now that we have broadcast message, which is totally free, that's another great one.
Right. Yes, you up front.
So what would be the benefit in using Notify versus the send text, if
okay.
Notify costs money and this does not? Now, I realize Notify can give you the option of what? Call, text. So is that maybe the reason that people choose to do Notify? Because to me, it's sort of a no-brainer. If I got to pay for Notify and this is cheap, this is free, then I'm going to do free.
But here's the thing with Notify, it personalizes it, okay? So when you do Notify, it's going to say, hey, Tommy, you have an appointment at, say, for pediatrics on Tuesday at 3 p.m. with Dr. Lloyd.
Well, no, we
Sounds
use
pretty
Notify
good.
for appointment
my voice for
reminders,
those,
but
just
not
let you
for
know.
recall. So recall personalizes it like it does the reminders.
That's
Notify,
Is right.
recall,
That's right.
Personalizes.
Now, here what happens when you do broadcast message, I can't come to you and say, this is when your appointment is, because it's going out to everybody. So you've got to be careful that we don't put somebody's personal information on it, right? Because then that's 10 grand per offense, right? And if you are a big office and you just bushwhacked 3,500 patients out there, good luck paying that one back. But so you're right. So that's one benefit to Notify. It personalizes it to the patient.
Do you mind explaining again why you deactivate it?
Why would you deactivate it?
So for the reminders,
Oh.
recall,
So for the recall, why do you deactivate it for a short time? Like, why don't you just have it running constantly that every month?
You
let's say-
can set it up that
You
way.
can. It can be cost prohibitive to folks, and they design this workflow before broadcast message exists.
Because isn't it per call that it does, that charges you? So wouldn't your numbers start to drop? I mean, at some point, it's the same difference. Whether I do it monthly or I do it quarterly, it's the same difference. I'm going to do 500 patients or I'm going to do 100 monthly. So it's about the same, isn't it?
Right. So there's also the idea of resources as cost. A human being has to run the broadcast message manually. Notify does it automatically. So where do you prefer to save your money, in the nickels and dimes on the Notify run, or your staff resource time, which is also expensive?
The one slide I don't have on here, which is really cool, when you use these tools, what happens? Exactly. It's not quiet. Your phones are going to start to ring. So now do you have the staff to pick up that phone call and schedule that patient or those patients? Because you just thought it was cool. You're going to run home tonight. You're going to push out. I know. Let me see hand. Oh yeah, put your hand down. I see you back there. I'm going to do this on the plane, right? No, I'm just kidding. But you look at it. You're right. You got to think about it, right? If you guys are going to push out a run to do this, to say, hey, you're overdue for flu number 2, and you get 60 phone calls, who's answering those? Who's scheduling them, right? So the tools are great, but you also got to remember, tools are you and me. We're all tools as well. So if you don't have that staff, that's another piece to it. You got to say, hey, recall is great because we're going to keep the doctors in the room, like Jim said, and we're going to make money. But that front desk person that's making the calls, her 2 coworkers called out today, and now you just got her 65 more calls on top of collecting copays and everything else. So that's why I said come together as a team and work with your doctors, work with your staff. I know we have bigger offices in here, and I get it might not work, but you can set up pockets. Anybody can do it. You just work together. Because what if the nurse says, hey, I'm going to be out Wednesday, and you can't do those vaccines then? Safe travels home. See you later. Bye. See, I was polite that time. Did you see that? I love it. Let's see, what else? Oh, we don't need to do takeaways yet, but, people are starting to leave. So, what other questions do you have? It's great. Like you said, the Notify, that's another one. Set it and forget it. You're right. But Reports Library is real time, which is really great. And then you could do your broadcast message or your email. But then remember, we got one on the thing? Okay, so the one thing with broadcast message that I've heard a lot of people ask is, you gave me a list of 10 people, but I want to take that one off. We can't do that yet, right? So that's the downfall. So you can't custom make your list to say, I don't want to call that. I don't want them to call this one. Don't send the text to this one. So you can't do that yet. So, that's one, limitation. So just be careful. All right, you in the corner, you got a question for us? All right, caller, you're on the air.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
We've got a question in the stream chat here regarding whether or not we're considering adding a feature to broadcast messaging where we can schedule when the message goes out.
So that's true. That's a good one. I've heard a lot of people ask for that. Can we schedule it to go out? Unfortunately, in the beginning of time, when we first designed this, it was initially to get you guys through COVID with PCC. It had to have human touch to it, because if you set it to go out on its own and then you forgot about it and we were to send you a bill, you'd be like, whoa, what's this from? Well, so-and-so in the back set up a flu recall to get all these in, and then the person went on vacation or something. You're right, and it does it automatically. So you still have to have human touch to that, okay? So that's why we don't automate broadcast messaging. You guys can schedule your report in the Reports Library to run every morning at 7 o'clock. So when you come in the morning, you go to your saved reports and it's there. Open it up, and we talked about that earlier. Open it up, and then you could have a Word document that you have everything typed out, and you cut and paste it and put it in there and hit send. But you're right, that would be super cool if we had a tool that you could just another set it and forget it, you right? What else you guys got? I see people sleeping. This, boy, I tell you, this is a tough crowd on a Friday afternoon, right? All right, so we'll hit the last slide, and then, you know, we've been going for, well, it says, what, 40 minutes, half an hour? I can't tell time, by the way. So some of my takeaways was like, how to keep the staff busy during slow times. So remember, staff is also, when I say staff, that's everybody. Because I know some people, I don't like to be called a mid-level. I don't like it when you call provider. We're pediatricians. I'm a nurse practitioner. We're staff. We'll just keep it generic. We got to remember everybody. We're going to keep everybody busy, but are we going to keep one person more busy? That's what you got to look at, okay? And your billers probably will love you anyway, because you know how they are when it comes to charges. Now that we're starting to do more in the EHR, they're so excited. So that's always a good thing. I gave you some reports to set some goals or goals. So when you guys go home, if you go home, because I know a lot of people are starting to say, we're going to stay here because you guys are the cool kids. But, you know, start trying it out. See what you could do. Don't be afraid to ask your provider, because you guys, we work for the best people in the world. We take care of kids. How can I get more kids to come in our door? Would you allow me to do some extra vaccines? I know Hep A is expensive, but, you know, and I noticed, you know, we have some 30-monthers that have had their visit, but we missed their Hep A number 2s. Can I call them and at least get this vaccine in them? So, you know, yeah, it's a nurse visit. You know, do it. You know, so be proactive. Say, hey, can we try this out? You guys have asthma kids. You know, we're starting to come out of COVID, and everybody said, hey, I had one office that called me and said, I need help getting patients back through the door. And I said, well, Jim, we did all the well visits like you told us. We did all the recalls. All the healthy kids came in and got their well visits. And we have no sick kids coming in the door. Now what do we do? And then the kick in the pants was they applied for the PPP loan. And because we were doing so great recalling everybody, they made too much money, you know, so they couldn't get it. So it was like, but, you know, so you know, you got to do the ebbs and the flows, right? What do we do when we're done well visits? You know, we're more than just well visits. There's asthma rechecks. There's kids like me that are shaped like bowling pins and need to be told they need to go walk around the block every night after dinner. You know, there's ADHDs, there's anxiety, depressions. You know, what else can we bring in? What else can we bring in? You know, and then I showed you the tools, and Kate spoke of tools before I taught tools on how to, you know, that's recorded, by the way, so wave to the camera, Kate. Oh, they can't see her. But, you know, so we gave you some of the tools, and we can only do better. And guess what? PCC is a phone call away, and I love my coworkers to death. But, you know, bug us if you need us, okay? That's what we're here for. Don't go back and spin your wheels and say, oh my goodness, what did they talk about for the last week? I forgot. We're going to post all the videos so you could be like, oh, that's where he said it, right? When you rewind it, fast forward it, I look pretty good in fast speed, right? But, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're family. We all work together. And that's, like I said, that's my favorite part of the job. It's helping you guys be successful every day at your practices. What do you got for us? Oh, Kate, go ahead. That was one finger. That was rude.
There is no one recall strategy that fits all. So a shameless plug to communicate with your client advocate or support. In many cases, how folks decide to identify certain discrete populations in their families and their patients are so wildly different from client to client. And maybe something found under patient list or clinical diagnoses is not going to be the recall strategy for you. You want to base your asthma follow-up recall strategy using an appointment-based report. Also, just a note that you can create patient flags, and the more discrete and helpful patient flags you have for certain populations, the better your recall strategies can be. So folks who are on an asthma action plan, create that flag. And then when you're slow and you realize, like Jim said, we got in all the well kids, we're getting some sick, we're not having a crazy COVID outbreak right now, I want to follow up with those who are in complex care management. But how do I find that subset population easily? There are lots of ways to pull appointment-based reports and ways to pull diagnoses reports, but the really easy no-brainer is to have a care management or complex care management patient flag so that you always have that denominator or list on hand, and then you can further customize the criteria of your report before you send that broadcast message. Reach out to the kids with eating disorders. Reach out to the kids with generalized anxiety. Reach out to the kids with asthma. So there's no recall strategy that's going to fit all, but there are tools beyond the report library that work so well with it. And I just wanted to make sure folks knew it could be from many different data sets that we have in the EHR. So please do contact us so that we strategize the best recall methods for you.
And the best recall methods, oh look, I got one more slide, I forgot about this one. References. Your practice dashboard, Jim's brain, reports library. I had to put that in there. But you know what? Not just my brain, your guys' brain. Because you guys know your practices, you know what you need to be, you know what needs to be done, right? We all want to get paid, so if you're, it's no fun to go in all day and just sit there and maybe for some of the millennials, I don't know, and you know what, I don't know, you know, I don't want to pick on millennials, I got in trouble earlier for that, so now it's recorded, but you know, but you're right, we all struggle, but when you get everybody involved and everybody's involved, it's just, when they see me print out the reports every month because the one copier in the office is by your desk and they see, they're gonna be like, oh great, now I've got to make 120 phone calls. But then you say, hey, morning huddle, we got this new idea that we learned at the UC last week. You know what, nurses? We love you guys to pieces. You know the vaccines. You know the parents' questions. Here's a list of everybody that's due for, you know, HPV number 2. Why don't we give them a call and get them in? You guys, and then let them decide. And if there's 3 of them, you can do 30 a day, right? Because they can each do 10 every minute or whatever. But, you know, you guys work together to make it happen. And then when you get more people involved, they get excited and they want to come to work because you gave them something to look forward to. Or if it pees them off, I deeply apologize. Call me. I'll give you my fake email, okay? No, because everybody always sends it to jim@pcc.com. That goes to good old Mr. Leahy. I'm the good-looking Jim is always my excuse, but you know, but it's jsmith@pcc.com. If you guys want to talk, I know you guys all have your own CAs, but if you just say, hey, what were you talking about? Because I slept through your class. Can you remind me? You know, but you got one more for us? All right, woohoo.
Yeah, we've got one more caller.
All right, caller, go ahead.
Now, the question was regarding migration of forms from practice management to the report library.
Oh.
Is there any way for us to start migrating reports that they're currently making in the practice management system over into the report library? And then there's an add-on, specifically those based on our customized patient and account flags.
So that's coming, right? Correct me if I'm not wrong, because we all go into these secret bunkers and talk about what you guys want. That's not really how it is, but I mean, it is downstairs and you give us lunch. More and more, with every release you can see, we're bringing more into the reports library. So you're right, if there's something you want that you don't see, that's called a wish for us. And you know, we have these wishing wells and you guys run to them. If you remember it on Monday, you're right. So every release we're doing, if we add more reports, I know we're going to be starting to do some billing stuff. So that's going to help us with these account reports and stuff like that to get stuff into the reports library. But can we give you a date? I learned a long time ago, the minute you promise a date, we're in trouble. So sometime in the future, you know, I won't say August 16th, I'll get in trouble. I won't say September 1st. We won't, oh, we're closed for Labor Day, by the way. But, but you know, just to let you guys know, we know you guys want more stuff from practice management into the EHR. Because it is daunting sometimes, but I love Partner. I used it for 10 years before I came to work for PCC. So when you guys say, hey, I need help with a partner report, I like that kind of stuff, you know. But you're right, we keep getting better. And if you don't see something that's there, don't be afraid to reach out to the CA on your call. Say, hey, I got a wish for a great report. Can you help me out? I know I have it in SRS, but I really want it in the reports library. Hey, let's see if we can make it. And if we can't, we're going to put an enhancement in for you, right? All right, so it's I should have crossed that out. Jim's brain should have been everybody's brain, because you guys are running the reports. You guys work with your practices. Make it happen, right? Keep everybody happy. And it's Friday night, so in Vermont, we call them creamies. Okay? There's a place, I don't know what you guys like. Last night down by the boat, there's Burlington Bay has great creamies. There's Al's Ice Cream down the road here. I can only fit in one car at a time, guys, okay? But Al's Ice Cream down the road, Al's French fries, they have great ice cream as well. The maple black raspberry, I gotta make this fun. Maple black raspberry twist is always good. So, you guys get a little bit of Vermont if you're still here. I really appreciate you guys coming. I'm such a people person, and to have us back in person this year was just outstanding to see you guys. So thank you for coming.